some sort of damage to our system last night, power surge right about the time we were on with News 12 at 11, and that again was responsible for wiping out a ton of data on the computer system. It's really in its own self nothing huge. Most of the stuff was backed up, but it was rather on the concerning side there for at least just a little bit. This is weather overtime. We'll get more on what's going on with the forecast coming up here in just a little bit, so stay tuned for that. We do have at this time, right before 10 o'clock on Wednesday, the final day of the month of July. Where has the time gone? Looking out toward the area in and around I-75 north and southbound, right around Nyota and close to the Athens area. We got a thunderstorm that has been developing within about the last hour or so, really starting to catch within just the last about 10 minutes. So we do have a decent amount of possible large hail. Could be, again, some half-inch sized hail here. And not seeing anything tornadic at this point in time. This is not exactly a huge system. We've got tops of about 28,000 feet, so it's healthy, but it's not huge, and we're going to continue again to see this storm right over I-75 as we speak. That's going to be heading for Beth Salem, Englewood, Fairview, Etowah, maybe drifting over toward Tellico Plains and Chestuie. Hope I'm saying these names correctly. 2 years here, and I'm still learning how to pronounce everything. Benton, back to the east of Cleveland. You probably should watch this system with a lot of interest to see what may be happening in portions of the area. So again, definitely a time to be weather aware, so keep it tuned to News 12, and we'll keep you updated on this. We could see some more heavy rainfall into later on tonight. Now, over the next several days, to make certain I'm pointing the right place, on YouTube, there is, again, our 7-day forecast, and way over here on Twitch is our 7-day forecast. We're using two different cameras on two different computers, so that's why I'm pointing in two different directions on here. I am executive director, producer, camera, audio, graphics, host, everything else for this thing. So occasionally you have to wear multiple hats to get things taken care of. All right, that being said, with weather, this is Weather Overtime. This is our online video weather blog. We're live and direct from southeast Tennessee, about a mile or two from the Georgia state line, that direction, back to the south of the News 12 studios. We take care of the area of northeastern Alabama, northwest Georgia, southeast Tennessee, and Cherokee County in far western North Carolina. And the forecast over the next several days, hopefully you've got a cool place to be, because we are not looking at anything in the way of good news. No fall weather for us. We are now just over a month into summer, and we've got about just shy of 2 more months to go on that, from August and September, before September the 21st, somewhere in there rolls around. So more potential of heat and more heat advisories coming our way. We'll talk more about that coming up here in just a little bit. Island Cove, we'll save that for our 7-day forecast right at the end. Let's take a look downtown. No rainfall across portions of the area, so that's good news. Sylvester the Spider hanging out over Raccoon Mountain, and so far, again, some very quiet conditions there. Lee Point looking off to the southwest on 153 and 64 interchange on the Plainview outdoor advertising camera. Little of anything going on here, and especially to the southwest, there's nothing going on. News 12 studios looking to the west, Lookout Mountain and Ruby Falls being seen there off in the distance from the News 12 studios on the Patriot Concrete camera. Chattanooga Red Wolves Stadium, Tomahawk Crane and Rigging camera, no construction going on, or at least very light amounts of construction happening. We do have a disabled vehicle right about the area just east of Germantown Road, right around Belvoir Avenue. Again, on I-24, looking, where is this? Right shoulder blocked on I-24 westbound. So if you're heading this direction, you may wind up with possible slowdowns there. Not to mention some heavy rainfall out there. And right back around O'Dare, let's see, multi-vehicle crash from earlier this evening. Looks like most of that is cleared up around the area of Nickajack Lake, right around Marion County Park. and around the Rankin Cove, Tennessee River area. We don't have any cameras around that area, so we can't really show you what's going on, but that, again, could be a bit of an issue if you are traveling for tonight. What haven't we done here when it comes to cameras? Let's do the Chattanooga Theater Center from around the area of the North Shore. Lit up quite nicely for the doubleheader tonight. The Lookouts taking on the Pensacola Blue Wahoos in a doubleheader, making up for the game last night that was postponed due to some soggy, rainy conditions on the field. And from our Chattanooga Zoo webcam, we've got, again, not much to show out this direction. If you look to the east, if you're in Chattanooga, Soddy Daisy, looking to the east-northeast, you might just see the lightning from that storm right back around Athens and I-75 at this time. Temperatures at the airport nearing 10 o'clock, still close to 90 degrees. It is toasty out there tonight, and with a dew point of 75 degrees. If this temperature was far away from this temperature, it would feel a lot drier and therefore a lot more comfortable. You get out into the Four Corners area of the West, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona. It is very hot, but it's very dry with about, 2, maybe 3% humidity out there. Our humidity is much higher than that, and that's why it is incredibly steamy. And even at 10 o'clock at night almost, Eastern time, the heat index is just about 100 degrees. So if that doesn't give you a good idea as just to how toasty everything is out there, we are right smack in the thick of summertime, no question about that for this evening. As we take a look around much of the area for tonight, not going to be seeing much of anything else in the way of cooler weather. Matter of fact, let's take a look and see what the current temperatures are and show you that we've got mainly 70s, lower 70s in North Carolina, back to 79 in Cleveland. That could be due to that shower and thunderstorm area cooling things off. High 70s, Ducktown, Blue Ridge, Fort Payne, Alabama, 79. Everybody else pretty much into the 80s at this point. Now, we don't have, again, a hugely dangerously hot heat index, but it still feels like 100 degrees in Calhoun in Georgia at this point. So, again, this is going to be the hottest of the hot conditions coming up into the course of the next several days. And we've got new heat advisories. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the big picture. Not much, if anything, has changed since yesterday. So we do have, again, more moisture all over the place. We've got this dying front that is sticking around, and it hasn't really been going much of any place. But in the next couple of days, we may see that drifting away, and that might take care of some of the irritation in the atmosphere. A lot of these storms here that we're watching formed well to the north in the Ohio River Valley, dropping down to our south and east. This one is what we may see trigger off more chances of showers and thunderstorms for later on tonight. So what's the big deal about that? Well, for right now, it doesn't really look like much. We do have the potential of some severe weather. We still have a marginal threat of severe weather. We'll take a look at that in just a second. But the main problem we've got is the saturated ground out there, which is why the National Weather Service is posting a flood watch and continuing a flood watch into tonight. So what does this have to do with anything? Southeast Tennessee, western North Carolina. This is where we get, again, the potential of that rain coming down, falling on very saturated ground. If the ground were dry, that rain would just integrate itself into the ground, be absorbed, and there would be not much of anything to worry about because that would help to increase the water table and help to supplement anything in the way of major problems with drought with the extra rainfall that we have around there. But in this case, the water hits the ground surface, runs off, collects very quickly in those bridges, underneath those bridges, the overpasses, into the creeks, streams, anything along the rivers, ponds in that area. That is where we're going to see the problem with rainfall really rising upwards, and that is where we could see some flash flooding going on. So that also includes Hamilton County and Chattanooga. So please, please, please remember, turn around, don't drown, find another way to get to where you need to go to, and let's be very careful on that for tonight. Now that watch, that flood watch, is in effect until tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Will that be extended? That depends, on what goes on with the computer models overnight, but mainly this is for the overnight period with any of those thunderstorms that are forming into and around portions of the area right around I-75. We're watching that area right there, and that is showing lots of lightning. I don't have too much to show here in the way of how much rainfall we are looking at. Let me take a look and see if I can find something here that says this is what we're looking at for now. This cell, let's go to 6-hour rain. Not seeing a lot there. And let's see again into around the area close to North Meigs County, Southern Roane County. We're looking at 1.1 inches of rain. Doesn't really sound like much. There's again a 1-inch rainfall amount in about the same area. And then back to around areas close to Southern Bledsoe County, Northern Hamilton County, Southern Ray County. There is possibility of picking up again about 1 inch per every 6 hours. That falling on the very saturated ground is where we really start to see the problem. So please keep that in mind. Turn around, don't drown is more than just a silly catchphrase. If it saves somebody's life, I'm all for it. And that sounds like a very good idea to make certain you stay alive in those types of situations. So please use caution out there. Now, what are we looking for in the next several days? It just into the short term, the potential from the Climate Prediction Center, the legend all the way up here. This is where we see, again, the hottest of the hot conditions for this area of the country, and that is for, again, about give or take the next 5 to 10 days out. That is where we start to see the potential of more problems with anything involving heat. There is signs of a decent resurgence of heat well across the American West. The West Coast states from Washington, Oregon, down through California and Nevada, seeing the worst potential going on for heat here. For us, what we are going to be seeing will be the potential of those hotter conditions coming on through. Now, last night we had at least one advisory when it came to flood alerts that has crossed much of the area. That, fortunately, not much of anything happened there. When it comes to heat, let me see if I can find everything back here because I move everything around before the final outlook, and I want to make certain I'm showing everything. Last night we did have a heat advisory for Alabama, DeKalb and Jackson counties in the News 12 viewing area specifically. Now, today, we had more added to that on the Georgia side of the line. National Weather Service in Peachtree City, Georgia, issuing heat advisories for areas around Dade, Catoosa, Whitfield, Murray, Walker, Gordon, and Chattooga in the News 12 viewing area. These are issued in the counties in orange. This is issued for heat index numbers that could top or go around at least 105 degrees. Now, watch what goes on as we zoom out, as we see purple all over the Midwest. Columbia, Jeff City, St. Louis, Missouri, down through Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, West Tennessee, eastern Arkansas, and northwestern quarter of Mississippi, basically. This is where we're seeing excessive heat warnings being issued. What does that mean? In these areas, we could see the heat index around or over 105 to 110 degrees. That goes all the way out into Oklahoma and Kansas. Meanwhile, for us, we are still just seeing the potential of the hottest weather south and west of Chattanooga and into Tennessee. The only county in Tennessee even close to us that is under a heat advisory is Franklin, and that again comes right to the west of the News 12 viewing area. So that is where we see, again, the possibility of the heat index temperatures expected to be way above normal coming up, and that is where we could be seeing a lot of danger for working outside. So time to make certain you're watching everybody around you and to make certain that you're paying attention to what is going on with the conditions out there. Take breaks. You don't have to mow the entire lawn all the way on through. So again, let's please be careful out there. Our 7-day forecast from Island Cove, Lake Chickamauga, looking off to the west where we had a beautiful sunset tonight. Hopefully I get to do another time lapse coming up here for the next several days. We will be seeing another possibility of severe weather coming up as we go into Friday. It doesn't look like much for right now, but the Storm Prediction Center has it in its forecast, and part of our viewing area is under that marginal risk, so we need to tell you about this. We will just see it's mainly isolated to scattered thunderstorms, but some of those could pack a bit of a wallop like we saw last night. Damaging winds, heavy rain, lots of lightning, and the potential of very small but still possible potential of tornadoes. That's what we're going to be watching out for here. Now, as we go into first of all, into the weekend, we might drop our temperatures a little bit into the lower 90s. I'm really iffy about that because with that extra sunshine out there, I'm thinking temperatures will probably stay in the high 90s all the way through the forecast, which means if that takes place, no relief. Lows in the lower to mid 70s, which means that's as far down as we go at nighttime with no sunshine up there. And that means from that point, we just head right back up again into the high 90s. So we are truly in the dog days and the hottest part of summertime. Now, we're also seeing something else here where we are taking a look at the potential for, again, the hottest conditions out there sticking around for now, but less in the way of rainfall. Up until about Monday, Tuesday, less chances of rain sticking around after that. That means more sun, that means more heat, and I would not be surprised to see these numbers go upwards once again as we go into the course of the next several days. This will be the first full week of August. August, of course, starts tomorrow, so we're not going to be seeing any help there. I don't know if you caught that, but a flicker of lightning from those storms. This camera is looking off to the north and to the west, but we are seeing, again, some lightning flash residual from the other side of the sky. Again, looking west here, but the storms are back over toward Athens, and they are putting out a pretty decent amount of lightning for right now. Let me switch for just a second here, and let's go back to our severe weather coverage for just a second. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for the area right around McMinn County. That also includes, hang on just one second here. Let me certain I get all of this, and there we go. Okay, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the area around McMinn, Polk, and Monroe counties in Tennessee. That storm, again, dropping its way down to the south, so south and southeast. So that is where we may see some problems out of that. So for tonight, again, we will be expecting the potential of some more heavy rainfall. Let me see what the National Weather Service has to say about this for right now. We do see, again, more potential of these types of thunderstorms into the next several days. Again, isolated activity for the most part, but that's mainly what we're looking at for right now. National Weather Service in Morristown issuing a severe thunderstorm warning for north central Polk, southeastern McMinn, and southwestern Monroe County in East Tennessee until 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Severe thunderstorm located over Athens, moving south at 30, hazard 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. So that is where we could see, again, some dangerous conditions out there. So please keep it tuned to News 12. Doesn't look like, again, anything in the way of huge amounts of problems with this, but it does need to be monitored. So again, if you're in north central Polk, if you're in southeastern McMinn County, or if you are in southwestern Monroe County in East Tennessee, this again is a severe thunderstorm, which again is going to be not great to be out in for right now. Please again stay in a place of safety. Even though it's a minimal amount and an isolated storm at that, we are seeing the potential of more problems with this in the next several days. If we knock off the potential of anything involving huge amounts of thunderstorms coming up, it is possible that we may see less in the way of thunderstorm activity as we go into the next several days. Again, as we showed you last week, that is where we're seeing the worst of the worst conditions out there. But for right now, any outdoor planners need to make certain you are paying attention to what is going on with the weather situation. Outdoors, again, for heat, anything involving problems with the heat index is going to be bad enough as it is, but you're going to need to watch out for the potential of lightning out across portions of the area, and that is going to be the worst part of it. Yes, it is going to be annoying to get people back indoors again. I know there's going to be some grumbling. The lifeguards at the pool are not trying to ruin your vacation time. They are trying to make certain that they save your life, and that is one of the best things out there that you can possibly do, is follow their instructions, because that is where we see, again, the threat out there. It may not be huge. You may have seen our program last night where we talked about the odds of getting struck by lightning in your natural lifetime in the United States, and it was 1 in 15,000. Now, compared to 1 in a million, that's pretty high, and it doesn't seem like a lot. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning than you do actually winning the lottery. So this is something that we are trying to make certain that everybody pays attention to. Again, this is a dangerous situation. It's a severe thunderstorm warning, so we do have the potential for injury with this, and also, again, the possibility of fatalities. It just cannot be understated on that, to where we see that potential of problems out across portions of the area while this warning is taking place. So please treat this with the seriousness that it deserves. This will be over with by 10:30 p.m., so another 21 minutes as we get done here, and that, again, is where we could see a lot more of the problem taking place. Let's go, where did I go to? The weather question of the day. This is something, and I apologize because I messed up. I'm ashamed that I messed up my geography so bad, but this was the area that we were taking a look at from earlier tonight. We have tropical storms and hurricanes. They develop in a certain area at a certain point in time, and at a certain location drives them forward with the prevailing winds. So where is an area where tropical storms do not develop? The Western Atlantic, the Eastern Pacific, Cape Horn, which I apologize, I got wrong because I said it was on the south side of Africa, around South Africa. That was totally the wrong continent. Cape Horn is, of course, the southernmost tip of South America, and that picked up 63% of the vote. That was actually the correct answer. Notice how the Gulf of Mexico got 0 votes, so nice to see that people are paying attention to what goes on in the geography community there. Thank you very much for voting in our Friend in Roofing .com weather poll question of the day. It doesn't look like much for right now, but we do have a cluster of showers and thunderstorms now becoming a little bit more organized, and the area just to the east of Puerto Rico is seeing this system develop. Again, it is not, let me just double check so I'm not talking out of both sides of my mouth at the same time. These storms, when they get better organized, they get what is called an area of investigation, or they are shortened to an invest. So this has not gotten an invest designation yet, but there's a lot more activity here than there was just 48 hours ago. The National Hurricane Center has pushed this up to a 60% chance of development. Nothing going on in the next couple of days, but it is possible that we could be seeing a lot more activity coming on through with this. This again, let me see. Development of this system is not anticipated during the next few days while it moves west-northwest over portions of the Greater Antilles. However, environmental conditions are forecast to be more conducive for development after the wave passes the Greater Antilles, and a tropical depression could form this weekend or early next week over the eastern Gulf of Mexico or far southwestern Atlantic Ocean. Now, if you think that sounds a little bit deliberately vague, that's because it is. The computer models are not having a good time with this particular system, and what we're seeing is the system way down here making its way to the west-northwest. It's going to be going over a lot of land surfaces around the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Puerto Rico, over toward Cuba. There are some models that are showing with this area of high pressure up here moving off to the east. This could curve east of Florida and go up toward the east coast. A lot of other models are now showing the potential of this thing entering the Gulf and making its way up to the west coast of Florida. And that right there, if you follow the blinking line, you'll start to see a system develop here, get a little stronger, but again, going over those land surfaces is not going to help it at all. That goes out over western Cuba, and then as we go into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, it really stands a chance of becoming a little bit more organized out there, and that is where we could see a situation of heavy rainfall from the Keys, Fort Arthur, up into Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater, into around Sarasota, and then eventually, as this goes even further northward, right around the rim of the Gulf of Mexico, that's where this thing really could drive a lot of moisture northward. Will that affect us? Now, that's a very good question, but for right now, that is coming up next Monday. So we are going to have to watch this, and if you got any travel plans down to the Gulf of Mexico, let's say between New Orleans, the Keys, and up to around Savannah, I would be watching this with a lot of interest and prepared to be as flexible as possible while this system moves on through. Again, we'll be monitoring this, so keep it tuned to News 12 for more. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Again, this is Weather Overtime from Chattanooga, Tennessee, our online exclusive. Nobody else in this viewing area does anything like this. Video blog from News 12 in downtown Chattanooga, keeping you updated as to what's going on. If you got questions, drop them into the chat function. We'd love to know what you're thinking. If you got a question about the weather, here, there, anywhere, we'll do our best to answer it while we can. We're about ready to get finished up for tonight. We've been on for almost half an hour already, so we're going to be kind of getting things ready to go for the 11 o'clock show coming up here in just a little bit. All right, a bunch of minutia to talk about here. National Weather Service in Morristown will be offering an open house. It would help if I could speak. This right here is going to be very nice to see because the public doesn't really get a chance to go in and tour a National Weather Service forecast office. So if you have the opportunity to go to this, if you live in this area, please do so. It'll be September 28th. That's a Saturday, and that's coming up 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. More information on their website, weather.gov/MRX, or our website down below the forecast at wdef.com/weather if you'd like to see more information about what's going on there. Now, wanted to talk, well, let's go back and make sure we've got one of the more important projects that we've talked about here. Our picture of the day, thanks to News 12 viewer David Marler from Charleston, with a flower above and a beautiful butterfly below, taken at the B&B Marina in Charleston. That's our Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. Now, if you'd like to see these pictures, all you have to do is go to our website, wdef.com/photos. You can email them to us at pictures@wdef.com, and you can also drop these to our social media pages. As long as it's semi-weather related, we'll be glad to take them. Again, thanks to everybody for sending these pictures. Also, go to our website. You can drop yours off, but you can also see what other people have been submitting for the Langley Roofing weather window picture of the day. So it'd be a great opportunity, again, to see and to learn more there. If you'd like to know more about that, please head to our website. Almanac page came within 3 of a record high, which was 99, set in 1999. 0.02 of an inch of rain since midnight, so not much of anything going on there. And then also a low temperature of 70, very close to where we should be for this time of the year. Apologies, we missed the Almanac page last night, but we had a lot of other stuff going on, so one or two things got dropped along the way. If you are a photographer, weather photographer, and you think you've got a great shot, wonderful. Go ahead and send your picture in. The World Meteorological Organization's 2025 calendar competition is on now and will be going on for the next 30 days. So if you've got pictures you think would be worthy of the calendar, enter your picture. There are certain, again, details you have to be able to send in. I think it's 4,000 by 3,000 the size of the picture, a certain amount of pixels are on there. If you'd like to know more about the rules, where to send everything, see some other people's pictures that were winners, and your name could be known far and wide around the planet as one of the winners of the competition. There is no money involved, so this is just for the notoriety, but you got to admit, that's pretty cool on there. So find out more at the World Meteorological Organization in Geneva from WMO.int, the Natural Sciences Division of the United Nations. So a great opportunity, again, to look and see what is going on there. One more time before we finish things up for tonight, we're looking at that flood watch in effect for tonight for the southeastern Tennessee, western North Carolina area. We have new heat alerts being issued for northwest Georgia, northeast Alabama. You are still under that watch for tonight, so please consider that. If you're out and about, and if you're watching this before 10:50 p.m. Wednesday night, the Chinese space station Tiangong will be making a low-to-the-ground pass northwest to northeast. It'll be flying between the North Star and the northern horizon. Now, we've got a few clouds out there. We've got some storms brewing, and a lot of humidity, not to mention that. So seeing tonight may not be all that great, but it should be decently bright to see going on through. And again, it rises in the west-northwest around 10:47 Eastern and then heads over toward the northeast, fading from view right as it passes by the North Star at, again, about 10:51 p.m. So neat little opportunity to learn more about some astronomy out there and looking at some of the folks that are orbiting 200 miles up. That's pretty neat to be able to see. If you want to know more about astronomy, coming up this weekend on Saturday the 3rd, 8:30 to 11 p.m., and two very important words here, weather dependent. If there's too many clouds, if there's too much rain, if there's any danger of severe weather, this will be postponed and you'll be able to go back again. But this is totally free, held along by the Barnard Astronomical Society of Chattanooga, Cloudland Canyon Star Party at Cloudland Canyon State Park, disc golf area in Rising Fawn, Georgia. Forget the equipment. You don't need to bring anything with you. They'll have binoculars and telescopes and all sorts of things. And if you'd like to introduce your kids or yourself to a great hobby of astronomy, find out more at their website. Follow them on social media, especially on Facebook, if I'm not mistaken, to where if they have to cancel, they will announce it at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, give or take somewhere in there, to let you know not to show up for an event that's been postponed or canceled. So, again, more information at barnardastronomy.org. Really cool to introduce your kids to this. Really cool to look through those telescopes and see nebulas and planets and galaxies and all sorts of neat things. So if you have the time and you have the inclination to learn more and find out why science is so cool, here's a great way to get your kids interested in science. Again, barnardastronomy.org for more details. All right, we are just over about a half an hour recording and netcasting here, so I think we're going to go ahead and send everything back to your regularly scheduled Wednesday night. It's going to be hot. Please be careful. Please plan ahead for that. If you're doing anything outside in the way of working, exercising, camping, hiking, canoeing, fishing, whatever, please be careful. That heat can sap your strength. Heat can be just as much of a killer as severe weather can. And that's why it's important to, again, make certain you're paying attention to what your body is telling you and keeping an eye on all those working and exercising around with you. Take breaks, drink the water back that your body sweats away. You don't have to do all the work at once. And again, this is going to be one of the best times of the year to have the worst experience of your life if you don't pay attention to what your body is telling you out in these conditions. So for all the vacation Bible schools, marching band, two-a-days, football, soccer, baseball, anything going on in the way of athletic practice, getting ready for the upcoming fall semester season, you've got to be careful. You've got to watch out what goes on. And somebody if it's an outdoor activity, someone on the staff, coach or an assistant or someone as a volunteer, is going to have to keep an eye out. There are great apps out there. I use Radar Scope. You have the Blitz or Tongue or lightningmaps.org website to where you can see how far that lightning is. And if it starts getting within about 10 to 20 miles, that's time to wrap things up and head back inside to make certain that you are paying attention to what is going on with the weather, because again, you don't want to take a chance of somebody getting struck by lightning when you had the opportunity to get everybody safe in the first place. So please use caution, and let's all be weather aware as we go into the course of the next several days and next several weeks, the way it's looking for right now. All right, that's it, and that's all. I'm Chief Meteorologist Austin Onek, live and direct from Chattanooga, Tennessee at News 12 WDEF, downtown Chattanooga. Thank you very much for joining us tonight on Twitch. Thanks to all the new followers on Twitch. Nice to have you on board there, and also on YouTube. Stay tuned for more tonight on News 12 at 11 with Andrew Harrison on news, Rick Nyman on sports, yours truly with weather, and Chip Chapman will have your forecast bright and early on News 12 on the morning show starting at 5 a.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for more with News 12 on air and online. And thanks for joining us for the Wednesday night, last day of July 2024 edition of Weather Overtime, and we'll catch you again coming up on Thursday night. Thanks for joining us.